don't have a lot of equipment to do edge banding, in this video I show Big D how to do edge banding inexpensively and very simple, as I call it, the old-fashioned way.
Alright, Sedge, so doing some edge banding, or I need to do some edge banding. I don't have the contour. Where do I start?
Okay, woo! We're gonna have some fun.
Alright.
This is the way I always used to do edge banding. Well, let's talk about edge banding really quick. We're gonna use an iron today. What everybody knows is iron-on. And this is the banding I use with the Contoro. This is 1 millimeter, you can use 0.5 millimeter. But this, if you feel that, has glue on it already.
Okay. So
yesterday when I was setting up to do one of our videos coming up on drawer box construction, I was going through some of material and I ripped it down. I had some pre-finish, it's not finished on here, whatever. But I ran a groove on here and I always edge band the top. Some people don't, but I do. And as I was starting to do this, I said, wait a minute, time out. I had some leftover banding and I said, you know what, I'm gonna show Big D how to do this because I want to get rid of this. It's pre-glued and you don't use pre-glued in the Contoro. So we'll get started. Okay, so one of the things, or some of the tools you're gonna need besides the pre-glued banding, I already brought this out and snapped them because we got a bunch of these to do. Okay. And I'm gonna cover these tools as we go. It's setting up your area properly. Okay. Get an iron. You can go buy a fancy iron. Just go to Amazon and get a cheap iron that stays hot. Okay, and heat it all the way up. You'll need a file, and I'm going to teach you how to work a file properly. I've seen so many people do it incorrectly. This is more today as a cutting tool. And then you've probably seen these kicking around places, and this is called a file card. I'll show you how to use that to keep your file clean. Okay. You'll need a sanding block, and you'll need a burnisher. Now, this is what I've learned over the few years I did edge banding. Okay. Setting up a place to lock in your material so you're not fumbling and bumbling with it. So what I'm going to use right now is this bench stop. I've been using this a lot. I love it. And then I'm going to put this up here and just use this clamping element and lock it in. So now you're free. Nice. Now there's another tip I'm going to give you, okay? Because we're going to run a bunch of these sides. You don't want to do the bottom, so orientate all your material first. And some of this is unfinished, we can always spray it after we make the drawers. Okay? And that way there, you can kick this out in no time. Okay, so this is rocket science, okay? I snapped it, I just broke them, and I leave a little bit. This is hot, and make sure it's hot, don't touch it. Okay, and that's all you're doing, and you're ironing it on. And what that does is that activates the glue. I go like this. Okay, and then I take something with a rounded edge, and I don't go too far because I don't want to snap it there. Right. Okay, but I'll go like this and burnish it in to make sure you have all of that. I'm going to take it out, and you'll see I've already done some. Okay, and you'll see where I'm going to alternate the stack. Also, we'll get into this. You'll see one side's low, one side's high. I don't really care because we're going to be trimming it with a file. Okay. This is 1/2" drawer box material, and I believe that's 20 millimeter banding. But we'll just use up what we got.
Hey, we'll make the best of it.
Cool. And just start ironing it on, man. That's all it is.
I'm Iron Man.
There you go. And just make sure, and sometimes I watch and that's hot, and you'll feel there's a little bit of bleed through. Now take, and always be aware of the iron because it's hot. Yep, and just burnish it in. That's as simple as it gets. Some people use a fancy J roller. You don't need that. Just a piece of wood with a round over. Okay. And once again, when you stack it now, see how I stacked it? Alternate it so you don't break the banding. And then we'll guillotine it in a minute. All right, cool. I'm gonna go get a beer, you keep going.
All right, sounds good.
So the next thing is we're going to take a utility knife and you put it right up against there. And I like using these knives because I can cut straight across and break it off. So you see how that's perfectly flush? We call it guillotine.
Guillotine.
I mean, you can go and get these fancy things and it never adds up. And that's how you do it. And then we're gonna restack them right here before we trim. I'm gonna do another one.
Okay.
And you can whale right through these like this and like this. Okay?
All right.
And once again, alternate them.
Alternate.
Okay, Big D, feel that. Okay? You want to avoid as much sanding as possible. You get a little catch there, okay? I'm all about saving time. And I saw your blade from that angle back there, and you were going like this. Don't do that. Actually, take the blade and press it against there,
Okay.
and that'll do it perfect. So there you go, no catch. So keep going, man.
All right, let's keep it going.
I'll go get another beer. Check that out. Check that edge, and check this one. Pretty good, huh?
Pretty good.
It's the one I did.
Probably the one you did.
Okay, so so get ready. I have seen so many people use a file to do this, and I'm like, ugh. I used to know a guy in Florida that used to take a hand plane blade to trim it. You can also get these fancy things that press against here to trim, but I've always found a problem with those because they follow grain. Okay. This takes a lot of practice, okay? But when you do it, and let's look at the file real quick. See the edges here? That is a cutting edge, and people don't realize this. So you got to, and what happens is you see how it's at an angle? Because you don't want to hurt this material, and you just break it like that, okay? And then you just take it, and you'll see. Pretty slick, huh? Now feel that.
Wow.
Okay, and then you just take it over. Now this, because it's a little high, I think it's a little bit easier, but you don't file it, you cut it. And you'll see the curly cube just happen. So there we go. And we got a bunch to do. What I do sometimes is I'll just take this and just go like this, and then I'll inspect this, and yeah, okay, I'll call it out. See the glue? It didn't activate on there, but I'll just take this and I'll reactivate the glue. Cool. I always inspect my banding afterwards. That's why I love the Conturo, because it's perfect. So I'll just take it like this, burnish it in, you get a perfect side ready to go.
All right.
Okay? Okay, so I saw you, there was a hesitation in cutting. This is what a file card does. A lot of people look at this and go, oh, you brush it off. Well, this is a lot harder than these little steel needles here. So what you do is you first clean it with the needles. Just, you hear that catching? You'll see it just come off the file like this. I've had this file forever. It's time to get a new one. And you'll see, if you go like this, now your cutting edge will come clean again, and you can go. So there you go.
Beautiful. All right, Sedge, what's next?
Okay, so check it out. You did a pretty good job here. It's your first time edge banding like this? Okay. So what I'll do is I'm just going to come back, and I want you to see this, okay? There's just a hair left there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and nail it. Okay, so that's all it is. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna be really quick, just at an angle like this, piece of sandpaper, and go like that. And just prep it for final dimensions for the boxes. And that's as simple as it gets. So Big D, you got a new skill, what do you think?
I think I have a little more practice to do, but...
Yep, you did really well. So there's a bunch of ways to apply edge banding. I think this iron-on is very common. It's great for beginners. And as we always say,
be positive
and stay sharp. Wicked sharp.